Things are going to start happening to me now.
You've done all the reading. You're a scholar. You're a professor. You've done all the reading. You've done the intellectual heavy lifting.
More or less, eat shit and die.
You wouldn't know a fact if it begged you all night long.
Want to give the wrong impression because I am very high.
Ran up behind him with a hatchet. Smash, smash, smash.
Yeah. Care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you. That was...
The Libertarian Podcast Review. This is Tyler Yonke, and we've got a special guest. You got a little prelude there on the first episode. By the way, the other night I couldn't sleep well, so I'm like, I woke. It was like 3 o'clock. I put on a podcast to put me to sleep. It was the Bohring Podcast, and it did put me to sleep. And and with that, there was an announcement, and so I thought we should at least bring in our guest today, Brian McWilliams of Lions of Liberty, Mean Age Daydream, and a new podcast.
Yeah, brand spanking new. I just turned on. I went to zoom in my camera, by the way, and it turns on the TV behind me. Do you love that?
Yeah.
So now the TV's on behind me. Hold on, let me turn the TV off. Yes, the new podcast is called.
What is it? It's Spider-Man? Okay.
That's what's funny. It goes in perfectly with the new show, which is the first episode podcast. This is like, I don't know, Spider-Man. It's whatever Amazon TV puts on when you turn the TV on.
Okay, go ahead and turn it off. I'll entertain the folks while you. Oh, look at you.
There we go. I got it.
You got
it's
a
so
good
annoying.
wingspan. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, you know me. I could go for days, man, with these wings. I'm like a condor. But yeah. Thanks for promoting the new pod. It's going to drop next Thursday live, and it's the first episode. The Bohring Podcast is dead, too boring, and now it's the first episode of classic shows like Seinfeld. So I don't know if you ever see like some of the old episodes of stuff. Oh, good.
No, you're talking to a guy that is in the middle of season 3 of Cheers have restarted. So I do this. I've watched. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, no, I do the same thing, man. You get
Files,
to a certain
I finished
age.
that about 8 months ago. Rockford Files, start to finish. I mean, I do all these old ones. Yeah.
It's great. Well, it's great to like see the old shows, especially in our current era where it's like, the woke crap and like, everything's very different. It's fun to go way back and watch the classics because half the time too, the sitcom episodes, they start off so different. Like in the first episode that's going to air on the podcast feed, which we already recorded, we do Golden Girls, and there was this flaming gay chef, which no one would ever remember. I don't know if you've ever seen Golden Girls, but hilarious show. A flaming gay chef they had, which apparently at that time, I don't know, they tried to make it work, but they were like, this guy's too gay. Get him off. And he just cut him from the show. Never see him again, except that one episode.
I'm trying to remember what was the name of the show. Ted Baxter, I think, is what he goes by. He was an artist in San Francisco. He had 2 hot daughters that lived in below him. And they had a friend that lived down there too, Jim, what's his name? And he was flaming as can be, but he was straight on the show. And no one bought it.
Not Three's Company.
No. It was very similar. Let me, Ted Baxter TV show.
Ted Baxter is the most made up sitcom TV name ever, by the way.
No, I think that's his real name.
Oh, God, is it?
Yeah. Ted Knight. I'm sorry, Ted Knight.
Okay.
Ted Knight. So Ted Baxter, I think was Ted Baxter was on Mary Tyler Moore. Okay, whatever. I'll figure it out. We didn't need to waste this time. But I swear to God, this happened the other night. Some shit was going on outside. I woke up. I was like, then I couldn't go back to sleep. So I'm like, let's see a podcast. Let's check out the Bohring Podcast. And you guys started talking about your new episode. And it did put me to sleep. Not because of that, but it was like 3 a.m. So one, you succeeded in multiple ways. But then I was like, oh, you got a new show coming out. So that's what you're doing with it. And is it the same guys?
Same guys. Me, Rico, and Donnie are going to do the same show. And it's funny. Rico, people who listen to Lions of Liberty will know Rico. He's been on the show a ton. But yeah, it's just the same thing. It's like first episode of classics. We're doing Sanford and Son next episode, and then a new show. So you get new and the old, and we just review it, mock it, whether we like it or not, what's changed. So
do you play clips of it, or is it just you guys talking? You've all seen it.
I wish. No, because you know why? Because if you play clips of anything on TV, YouTube zaps you instantly. Yeah, you can't do it. Yeah.
Right. Well, I hope you have success with that. because it sounds
Thank
like
you.
you weren't having success with the. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Yeah, for those of you not watching, Tyler's clearly mocking me and does not wish for my success.
No, this is what I do. I push other people's shows, and hopefully that I get drug along with all these things. So no, but
I'll drag you for miles.
Speaking of which, in February I'm coming down to the LP down in California. Are you performing? I know Adam Nutter said he was going to be there and perform. Are you performing with him?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to be opening up for him. Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay. When is that? Which day?
That is. Oh God, I think it's I think it's the week after Valentine's Day. I think.
I mean, which day of the weekend?
I don't know.
Because I'm flying in on Friday, so I hope Saturday.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Right.
I wish I could tell you. I honestly don't know. I haven't solidified it. I've had too many things going on. Like I was telling you before the show, like I've had home renovations going on, and we were talking about flooding our houses similarly. Yeah. And so I've just been so distracted. My mind's been everywhere. And until next week, then I'll return to sanity. I'll get back to I'm in a rental house right now with these cavernous roofs. And lights that go on randomly. I have a light on me. I guarantee this light above me will go off during this podcast.
No,
and the bathroom light may turn on.
Okay,
that's what I like to have. I like to signal the police helicopters, the black helicopters, following the criminals in my neighborhood around with my bald head to let them know to check my backyard.
By the way, what do you think of the news story out of Florida? The Giants. Anything?
Yeah, the Nephilim or the aliens. I mean. My wife told me about this morning. I watched the video. It looks like the best video we have. It just looks like a grainy mass on a helicopter cam, right? That's the best I could tell.
I don't know. I saw when the people were talking about this. Then there was some because they said there were crazy kids going, and then there was video of Florida and the cops of a bunch of teens of a certain ethnicity having a big brawl. I think it was previous.
Were the teens fighting the aliens?
No, and the cops just massed down there and solved it all very quickly. And so I don't know if it's a repeat of that. Anyway, it's all crazy.
I mean, well, I know we had one just actually at a mall by me where a teen, like hundreds of teens, mass mobbed the mall. The cops had to come in, broke it up, arrested the teens. Probably similar there. But yeah, I don't get the alien connection here. Why? It's like, I mean, is it like the old school days where teens are hopping on each other's shoulders to sneak into the theme parks or to the bar and they dress it as aliens now? Right. And they're like, I'm here. Is this the cantina?
These are actually just a bunch of elementary school kids with the overcoats trying to get into the bar. Who knows? I'm sure we'll get more out of that or not. I don't know. But speaking of trending news, the gay situation, Claudine Gay, you did a podcast and you broke it down, and I thought it was very good, but I have some contentions. And actually, not even that. You covered them kind of at the end of it, but I think those are the more significant issues. So why don't you, for everybody here, give us an overview of what happened and your take on it, and we'll just sit back. I'll just let the vibes happen. Yeah, chill and relax.
Okay.
I'll drink my... By the way, I may be a little ornery because... I don't know what you do for. I've decided I've had some health issues over the last few years with a bike wreck and stuff, and I just kept eating like I was still racing, but I'm not. So I just gained a ton of weight. So
you just been eating like you're racist. So a lot of heavy, Cheetos, pork rinds. Yeah.
So now I've been on this diet. I've lost 10 pounds in like a week and a half. I'm like riding my bike a bunch again.
A week and a half.
Yeah, because
are you sure? What did you catch AIDS from Robbie Bernstein?
Yeah, I've been shitting my pants a lot. That's it. Yeah, let me tell you, I'm ornery because I'm not eating a lot of food. Anyway, the point is, yeah. Are you doing anything special for hey, I'm gonna do a resolution. I'm going to do something.
My resolution is honestly just to make as much money as humanly possible this year. The home renovation stuff has just murdered me. I'm at the poorest point I've been in since I've been an adult human. And I don't want to ever go through something like this again, where I'm transferring money from savings accounts and selling stocks off to pay for window shades. I don't want to do that ever again. So I just want to.
Is it because of the
be rich
house?
Forever? Yeah.
Is it because of the house?
Well, it's the house plus inflation. 20% inflation. Our grocery bills skyrocketed. We're trying to finish this renovation, which you live in California. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And then you got on top of that, every time you go to the grocery store or Costco, it's $200 for anything. You know, you come up with, you get the bill and you look at what's in your trunk and you go, what am I paying for? So it's just been, it's crazy. So that's my resolution, is make as much money as humanly possible.
Well,
what about you?
That's always on the table. But my resolution is to try to get fit again. That's the whole point. So, anyway.
That's the lamest. That's like the lamest, most cliched resolution ever.
It's not, because
get out of my gym, fat stuff. Get off the treadmill. I need to use it. Fit people need to work out.
Right. But I'm very, when these things happen, I get very serious. Matter of fact, we met some people at church a few weeks ago, and I hadn't seen the pastor because we hadn't gone for a long time.
Did he refuse you communion because you were too fat?
No, because I'm not Catholic, so we don't do that. But my wife meets it, whatever, he's like, hey, Tyler, and like, you kind of look the same or something, I don't know. And she's like, he's put on a lot of weight. That's just so fuck her. I mean,
that's awesome.
But okay, start it. Gay. Let's go. Ready?
Okay, go. Gay. Let's get gay. So Claudine Gay resigned after now, I think it's something like 60 accounts of plagiarism. Whether or not these are all accurate or not, there's some semantics involved, whether or not it's true plagiarism or she miscited something, didn't give the people credit, which to me sounds like plagiarism, right? Sure. I understand these people are dancing around the topic. They're like, well, she just didn't cite the people that she included from. Like, that's what plagiarism is. That's what it's called. When you just steal something, you don't credit them. So I don't get it. But she's finally resigned. And what I said was that it was a little surprising, but inevitable. However, what's happened here is nobody's going to learn a lesson. You know, like Harvard pushed forward Claudine Gay, despite the fact that she is unqualified, that she had attacked people within Harvard that were other more prominent than her, black professors, black economists, researchers. During the Black Lives Matter movement, an economist at Harvard had done a research into a specific paper that kind of undermined the narrative that police were just shooting black people everywhere. She tried to destroy people's careers. Harvard pushed her forward regardless because their priority is DEI. Right. Now we're seeing her resign. And the thing that I'm seeing in addition to this is that our elite universities during 2023 have broken down. Like, the respect has broken down. And it's leading the way is the Claudine Gay incident. The reason she was put forth was simply because she's a black woman, not because she's critical, not because she's leading Harvard in the right direction. The hires they made, like Lori Lightfoot, Beetlejuice. There you go. I told you that light was going to turn on and off.
I just thought I was seeing things.
No, it's the electrics in this rental. They're hiring people to teach the next generation of would-be leaders, right? Would-be experts, and letting everyone down because it's no longer about academia. It's no longer about the right way to present information that's accurate. It's no longer about doing research. It's no longer about actually creating leaders. That's all been pushed to the side because now it's all about catering to DEI, woke leftism, and the agenda, right? The message. And that's what I was saying at the end of the episode is really the culmination of what's happening here and why we've lost every respect for these institutions. And I think COVID led the way. COVID proved that these people don't give a damn, and it's just kind of accelerated from there.
Okay. So do you think this is good then? Because I know the right is just, they're creaming their pants and they love this. So is this a good thing?
Yes. To me it is. Because here's why. I think for too long we've actually had institutions that have been valued or overvalued. Like Harvard's overvalued. Yale's overvalued because so many times to get into these institutions, we know because of the Supreme Court saying, look, you can't just discriminate against Asians or whites to put people that are of different races in here because you want to check boxes. It's not about academia. It's not about the best and the brightest. We saw that. So I think it's a good thing that now these institutions are being laid low because they have not been providing us with leadership. For us to wake up and say, why are we valuing somebody's opinion because they're a Harvard professor now, as opposed to somebody from a lesser university that has just as much experience, probably a more honest track record, and also, by the way, doesn't have these big moneyed interests like a Harvard because they are uniquely tied into the biggest corporations, the biggest NGOs, the biggest political bodies. It's fantastic that we see them laid out because the George Bushes of the world, right? George W. Bush went to Harvard. Let's not forget that.
Right.
they no longer are going to have the power they did.
Well, hang on.
Okay,
let's do a correction corner on you here.
Oh, it's Yale.
Thank you.
Sorry, George W. Bush went to Yale. My apologies.
Big difference.
But
I don't know.
Well, the rowing teams are very different.
But he was a male cheerleader. So anyway, go ahead.
That's true. But point being, they have led the way in every aspect: society, culture, academia, politics. Them being laid out, them no longer being valued, where the elites can't just place people they want to lead our society in them anymore and have them go traipse along no matter what and lead it. That's a great thing. And that's, I think, where we're at.
Okay. So with that in mind, you say it's a great thing that it's happened because we've degraded these institutions that we shouldn't have cared about. Totally agree with you. So
Not anymore anyway.
Okay. Well, now they put in a new guy. So is anything going to change? And does that actually help? Because what they're trying to do is save their reputation. So should you be cheering on them saving their? I think what, and I'll get into why she should not have been fired. Well, I think they went after her for a different reason, and they found plagiarism, which is the whole anti-Semitic issue. So, but anyway, is anything going to change? So now they have respect, right? This Alan Garber or something in there. I don't know what his background is, but. Is anything going to change from this? And are you looking for? Oh, now I'm glad because she's not in there, so this guy is going to be much better.
No, I don't think it matters who's in there, to be honest, at this point. Harvard made it very clear, and the Harvard board, by the way, came out defending her after the Israel-Palestine hearings. Which pissed me off, by the way. Why are we having hearings? That. Ridiculous. Well, just the fact that why is Congress sitting down with leaders of these educational institutions about protests on campus? Why is it your purview? If you value free speech, well, okay, then free speech is them having these protests. I'm sorry, you shouldn't be interested. I don't care to have you waste your time talking to these leaders of institutions like this. But no, nothing's going to change. Harvard chose Claudine Gay. They chose this new guy, Alan Greenspan. Not Alan Greenspan, of course.
Garber, I think is what it is.
Garber. Yeah, Garber baby food. And he's going to continue to Garber's going to feed Garber baby food to the students. They're going to continue to prioritize students and bullshit opinions over rational opinions, over academic freedom, over open dialogue. Remember, Harvard was found by Fire to be the lowest in the entire country on free speech. Nothing's going to change until they lose the influence I'm talking about, until they realize that nobody's valuing them anymore like they did. Then they'll actually change.
So, well, and that's kind of what I'm getting at here, which is, do you respect the presidency? That's a yes or no.
Of the United States?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So with that, would you rather see KJB or whatever the spokesman is there, or someone who's kind of qualified and is good at their job, but it's still lying? I would rather see the clown. It's much more showing. So much like her, I would rather see this clown in charge of Harvard because I have no respect for that college. So it is interesting that the right is all excited about this, and I'm not putting you in that perspective, but you just knew a lot about this, so I want to talk to you. So they put a lot of and they respect this institution, yet they don't respect the institution. They're always talking about public school and how crappy it is, and then they get all up in arms about this, and I don't understand really why they're so worked up to save this institution, which Rufo, I think, went there, or at least he did an extension, and he's kind of the guy. Tell us about what you know about Rufo, or if you have comments on that.
To be honest, I don't really know about what Rufo said. I know Tom Woods went to Harvard, so I know his comments, but no, I don't know. You got to fill me in on what Rufo said about Harvard, because for me, I know where you're coming from, and I agree with it, that I like the clown show. I mean, Karine Jean-Pierre is a clown representing, Joe Biden. It's fascinating. But for me, I see Claudine Gay leading Harvard. Now, let's not forget. Harvard is still shaping young minds, right? So to eliminate
they're making decisions. I mean, you look at the Supreme Court. I think it's all Yale, Harvard still. There might be one other. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also Colorado, if you look at their Supreme Court that tried to keep Trump off the ballot, the three Supreme Court justices, I think, were all from either Harvard or Yale, to your point, or Princeton, all elite universities. The three that voted against it, the four that voted for were from elite places. The three that voted against it were all from local places.
Yeah, University of Denver.
Yes, thank you. So
I lived there
for me, they're they're still shaping minds, right? And Harvard still will have some influence. So you do want it for any educational institution, you want somebody better in there. So I can understand rooting and taking her out, but I get your point. Like, I'm cheering on the eradication of the respect for these institutions. So really, it would have been great for Gay to stay in there. But at the same time, like I was saying, this new guy may be better, maybe worse. I think he's going to be the exact same. I don't have any faith in him being any more respectable than she was.
So I think he's going to be worse because he look, and I just briefly looked at his like Wikipedia. He's much more qualified. Therefore, what he actually, and he's been associated with Harvard for a long time. So therefore, anything he does or says is going to have a lot more clout. And I think it's hard to push back against her because of her race with that. But so Rufo, just real quick on him. He's the one that claims he got the scalp. So he had gone to a Harvard extension, like a master's. So he's a Harvard grad type of whatever. But he's the one that found it and really pushed it. And when you look into him, he's kind of a right wing guy. So well, before we get back into him, so my dad had, by the way, my parents are right wingers. When my dad was here for Christmas, he was all excited. He showed me a chocolate bar, which is Jeremy's Chocolate, because Daily Wire put the show. And I'm like, yeah, this is why I hate the Daily Wire. They're going to take my parents' money because it actually, to his defense, my sister bought it and showed it to him. And he thought it was the greatest thing. And I'm just like, that they will push everything they can to suck your money out, and they're pathetic. Anyway, the right wing complains about not having free speech on campus. So as soon as Gay says something anti-Semitic, or actually just allowed anti-Semitic speech on campus, which may or may not have been true, but they viewed it as anti-Semitic, suddenly I'm seeing some libertarians, I'm seeing the right wing, we should be stopping this. And I'm like, okay, so I wish you would do this in politics, which is Hunter Biden, or they're going after Trump. Why don't you go after Biden or mutually assured destruction? That could be one thing, but they're too much of a pussy. So they will go to Harvard. Do you know of any other cases where they're pushing back like this other than Harvard? And I'm getting at the Jews. This is a Jewish problem.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's been fun. I got to go. The way I look, I can't be on any podcast deriding the Jews.
No, I'm not necessarily saying deriding the Jews. I'm saying it's the Israel take that really put him over. So anyway, I said a lot of stuff there. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, regarding Rufo, I just want to make it clear. I thought, Harvard has said that they investigated alleged plagiarism earlier, but the problem was that they said basically, well, we looked into it, it was no big deal, right? And then Rufo came out and then these other people started researching it. But I think you could probably find a lot of that with anybody. I think Gay is a plagiarist, but sure, I mean, there's too much evidence. But I think you could find that probably for a lot of academia. To circle back to the issue of free speech,
skipping real quick. Biden is well known for having plagiarized a lot of stuff. What about bringing this back to the fore? No, we're going to go after this shaved head academic. Okay, go ahead. No.
Well, I mean, and that's what the left is now saying, right? If you read a lot of the media coming out, they're saying, well, this is going to be the right's new tactic to take down leftist professors and leftist leaders. They will say, and they're saying it's racist, which is stupid, but they're saying now they're going to use plagiarism to take people out. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I think that the issue of free speech, to your point, is one that is troubling. Like, I actually objected to the right and or libertarians saying we need to crack down on free speech because it's genocidal and whatever. Like, I get within the context of Harvard, you should, as an institution, even if you're free speech, probably have rules against saying, hey, you're calling for a genocide of people or direct violence against people, right? Fine, agreed. But there's a very fine line there. And that's where Claudine Gay and UPenn's president and whoever else was up there, that's where they failed, was they couldn't deliver the very distinct message about what free speech is and how you can't squash free speech and political speech all the time because so many people tend to be in favor of Israel, right?
Well, you know why they couldn't? Because they had squelched or pushed down right-wing speech for so long. Well, I mean, I think that's why it is. So it's hard for them to really, in a sense, defend it on this point. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, but you make a good point, and that's where, for me, they failed. Because the right-wingers, are completely hypocritical in this sense.
Yeah.
You cannot say, to your point, you can't say, well, you're not allowed to shut down our protests and well, sorry, I got off point. I got myself mixed around. To your point, you can't, as a right-winger, say you can't protest in opposition to Israel and say these things. Meanwhile, say that you should be able to fight for, let's say, white rights, right? Because anything's going to be offensive to a certain portion of the population.
Yeah.
And of course, Jews are going to be offended by people marching for Palestine and, saying whatever they're saying on campus. I don't know if they made college for genocide or not, but saying whatever they're saying is anti-Israeli. Now they're trying to make it officially anti-Semitic, right? Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitic. They're trying to put that into...
When someone wants to push back against an Irish parade, are you offended? Are they doing that? I don't know.
No, there's no Irish people pushing back against Irish parades. I made this exact comparison, man. Like for example, for sports mascots, the Fighting Irish. Nobody that's Irish gives a damn because it's a complimentary,
right?
Portrayal. I feel the same way with the Chiefs or the Redskins. The Redskins is kind of derogatory, but the point being, no one's pushing back against Irish parades. No one's saying that it's somehow anti-Semitic. And if there were to be a protest that says we want Irish rights, I would be all for it. I might be like, I don't know, at this point, it just keeps sounding stupid, but I'm all for it. But the point is, you have to be able to protest whatever you want, whenever you want. And to say that something is prohibited on campuses because the United States happens to be at war with them or impacts a Jewish population, I'm sorry, but no, because you can't have a protected class you're not allowed to say anything against at any point in time. Yeah. And things are always going to go across the line in any protest. Look at Black Lives Matter, for Christ's sakes. There were people in Black Lives Matter that I'm sure were yelling, kill Whitey, which is the same as saying kill, I'm not going to say it because it'll be clipped and put on Twitter, but kill, whatever.
I think she probably has most school tattoos on her. Just saying, Benzo Barbie.
One from every person she's fucked from the school. Right. Hey, you come get a Penn State tattoo.
Right. She started at Division III. Just saying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we tease her. No, but my point on this is kind of it's fascinating that by the way, if you're saying something about Israel to someone in the U.S., should it really bother them? I mean, I'm not offended about Germany. And so there's a dual loyalty problem that's over the top with this whole thing. And you're seeing it in politics with the, and I'm not trying to get you in trouble with Jew bashing.
I get myself in enough trouble. Don't worry. You're not going to get me in any trouble.
It is fascinating. Like I mentioned, coming from like a pretty conservative family and how I always thought about all these things as well. And I've changed my mind quite significantly on the whole issue. And part of it was, I'm like, when this whole October 7th thing was going on, I'm like, oh, look, I've heard the Ben Shapiro's, I've heard Dennis Prager, I grew up listening to them, all this stuff. They always had things, and in my mind, there was little problems with some of their explanations, but I didn't dive into it. Matter of fact, that was just kind of the thing. You just back out and you don't think about it. So I listened to the Martyr Made podcast and read some books, and I was just like, oh, I've been horribly wrong.
Yeah.
So you condemn Hamas. That's the
well, look, you can. That's the thing that I think so many people misunderstand. You can condemn Hamas and also condemn Israel, right? Yeah. Hamas does not stand for every person within Palestine or the Gaza Strip, just as Israel does not stand for every Jew in the world. And I think that's what is conflated so evilly, as you said. We should not care, as we are not Israel. We're told that Israel's our greatest ally. Israel, they hack us more than anybody else. They're the biggest cyber threat to us in the world, by the way. We give them money. We give them arms. If any person can ever explain to me what actual value Israel can bring to American citizens, tangible value, being located across the world, getting our money, I'd love to hear it. Because I guarantee you there's no rational explanation. But no, we shouldn't care. And when we see this conflation of you can't attack Israel because it's attacking Jews, I just shake my head like, this is so stupid. Yeah. Jews here have nothing to do with Jews there. Jews across the world have nothing to do with Israel. And Israel's actions there are now like they're losing the PR war. Like I've never seen, one of the biggest stories of 2023 to me, dude, is Israel losing the PR war so badly. Because of cell phones, because of the way media has changed, they can't control the narrative anymore. And the media and governments that are complicit with them can't control the narratives. So now you're seeing Israel lose the PR war, wherein before it was dark, it was black and white. Hamas, Gaza Strip, they're terrorists. They did this attack. Now we see the response, which is what people like you and I have always been talking about. We see the conditions these people are forced to live in. We see they're just carpet bombing cities, blocks, and forcing people into a tiny area that they're also bombing. The information, it's insane. And people are waking up to this fact. And it's an amazing revelation. And it's not surprising to see that, of course, it's going to come out on college campuses. And people could get mad, but one of the things I said in my episode is, these kids can come out and they should protest for what they believe in. They should see what's happening here and be upset by it as we are. But they've lost the beat on checking these kids if they are calling for genocide or violence. Well, you're losing it because you fostered a system wherein these kids never get challenged. They think they can always call for violence and there's not going to be repercussions. They can always protest and call for whatever they want and there's not going to be repercussions to it or dialogue or pushback. And they fostered a system where this is the outcome. This is what's going to happen when you have no free speech, no open dialogue, is you're going to have kids going out there yelling about stuff they may or may not have any understanding about, and it usually is violent.
So 2 things I want to talk to you about. One, your episode name was 2023 Takeaway, Elite Universities Have Lost Their Luster. One, do you think that's recent? Or, because I could go back in history, and I think, the left, Hollywood, the commies, it's been, I don't know, it might actually not be as bad now as it was, in the 1930s and 40s with the communist influence then. I don't know. The other thing is, because I don't want to lose my thought here, so I'm going to put this out.
Okay, go ahead.
The other one is it's so unique where I see these, and a few years ago I was on the other flip side. We're seeing the protesters, for Palestinian, and they're a bunch of trash that I would never want to have anything to do with. And I happen to, I kind of agree with your point now, but you're still trash people. So I'm so confused here as far as the colleges go, because I hate a lot of the right, what they're doing. They're, anti-Semitism is, or you speak bad about Israel, it is anti-Semitism. I'm like, no, anti-Zionism equals, that's what they say. And that's pathetic. And they're completely wrong. But I don't want to associate with these people. And it reminds me of the anti-war stuff. It's like, look, I'm anti-war, but I'm not Jackson Hinkle or whatever commie guy either. So how are you navigating that? Or are you just like doing a podcast and now you're totally going into pop culture? And then what about the universities losing their luster?
Okay, so I'll address the first thing first. So losing their luster, you make a good point about commies in the universities and how this is pushed back against. But I think you forget, I think in the older days, there was far more diversity of thought within college campuses, especially places like Harvard. The elite universities, there was actually diversity of thought. They pride themselves on it. You remember, Berkeley, obviously free speech, everybody gets to talk. And yes, that's commies, that's conservative, but there were both at the school. That's the point, though. There were both at the school. While they could attack them and say, well, this is communist rhetoric that's coming out of this, there was still pushback. There was conversations allowed. And
police that were on the campuses in Berkeley. And then remember, they killed some people in Ohio.
But that was what the fight was about.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
that
I'm
was
saying, I don't think they were letting them talk.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the police. I'm talking about...
Well, who called the police?
Okay, do you think the campus called the police? I don't know.
Well, I think what was the one in Ohio? Trent State or whatever it is, Kent State. I think
was that the one that that was Harvard. That was the one they're all sitting in and just.
That's where the police killed, and it was actually campus police. But anyway, I digress.
Oh, why are campus police carrying guns? Give them tasers to stop rapes. I agree. They should be carrying guns. They should be carrying AK. Why are the students not carrying guns? For that
Some
matter,
of them do. That's been a problem.
Amen to that. But I don't know. I mean, I think that those institutions didn't lose any luster back in the day. They had always been these unbelievably powerful places of education, institution, influence, and they continue to be. I mean, a beat wasn't missed.
Yeah.
Nobody stopped sending their kids to those schools. I think that now is the point where they might stop sending their kids to those schools.
So that's.
And I say that, by the way, as I have a brother-in-law who's going to Berkeley right now. and I'm going to send him, all the literature that I can to stop him from becoming retarded.
What is he taking?
Astrophysics, thank God.
Okay,
he's not
so
like taking political science or anything like that.
I went to multiple universities, but one of them, the most liberal one, was University of Colorado.
But I was ultra liberal.
Right, but I was in the sciences, engineering. So we didn't really. It wasn't a problem. Plus, I was ultra right.
As an avid cyclist, I thought you were going to be a chemist, finding better ways for people to inject their balls full of cheating drugs.
Trust me, there were a lot of street chemists out the time. So I raced in the 90s. This was a heyday. Anyway,
damn. I could see why you didn't win. You're not good enough cheating.
By the way, good point. I didn't take performance enhancing drugs, so I wasn't good, but I worked extra hard to try to keep up with everybody. So enough gay talk. Keep going back.
Okay, so wait. All right, so that was the first point. The second point was, remind me again. Sorry, the question was very long.
You've got objection, compound. So
I've now drank almost a full martini during this podcast.
Well, you're almost out of here. You've got like 4 or 5 minutes left. Brian's going to leave us early because he's going to go to drink at the bars.
No, sorry, guys. I know I run a comedy show. I have a comedy show tonight. I have to set up at the bar. I have to do a comedy show.
That's right. No, perfectly fine. And then I'll continue on here. So the other one was like kind of having coalitions with people you just absolutely abhor. And I think libertarians or right wing, they get pulled into this. You get the Dave Smith's talk about this. Dave Rubin comes in and like, oh, the left left me. And it's like, yeah, but now you're pulling the right to where you were. So it's just as pathetic. And how do we not do that? How do you have coalitions with some of these people? Or do you just like try to back out and just renovate your house?
No, I think, well, obviously you renovate your house. No, I mean, look, coalitions can be good. The thing is, I think too many libertarians, because there's so many purists out there that say you shouldn't associate, talk to people. You can't do anything with these people that are not 100% libertarian. And honestly, that's just fucking stupid. Right. It's number one, it limits our reach because you need to talk to people the ways you intersect. Like the way I talk to my friends here in LA who are ultra liberal is I try to find ways I can point out to them what hasn't worked that they believe in and how just trying something new is different. Like, for example, welfare, poverty. The poverty level has stayed the same throughout the entire history of basically the country, despite the fact that we've increased spending like 4,000%. It stays the same. Try something else, right? You can't just say you can't have a coalition with somebody because they don't believe exactly what you believe on every issue. I mean, people got upset about the the war rallies, the anti-war rallies the Libertarian Party would hold. There's another one coming up in February. Guess what? The Libertarian Party is going to be partnering with some organizations that you guys may not like out there. It's anti-deep state. So they're partnering with the People's Party. The People's Party is not libertarian. But if you want to make an impact and you're not one of the two major parties, you have to build coalitions. There's a reason all of these other countries that don't have a two-party system like we do across the globe, right, have coalitions built to take control, like Italy. Like, Javier Milei obviously didn't have a coalition, but you have to find ways to intersect with people. You can't just be a purist or else you're going to be sitting in your bubble talking to nobody except the people that agree with you and having zero success. So for me, this entire talk about you shouldn't be doing an event with these people because they don't agree with you on everything is moronic because nobody's going to agree with you all the time except a clone.
So how do you deal with it? Because I'm with you, and I made this comment. It's my thought process. I don't know how you implement it, which is let's use them rather than because it's always them using us, right? If they come into this whatever the sphere is.
If you're the Republicans, yeah.
Well, even libertarians. You look at JFK or RFK Jr. He starts being popular, and everyone's sucking his dick. And I'm like, no. Why don't you when he comes on? Maybe you push back against some of these little things. It's okay to love him for what the one minor thing that he was good on. Anyway, my point, and I don't even know how to implement it, is like use them rather than them using you. And how do you do that at a rally, which, Angela had problems because there was like a commie flag that someone was, putting in front. You can't do anything about that. But what can you do? Do you have any ideas? You're like head of the LP communications or something
I am,
like that.
Yeah. I am. Yeah. Yes, correct. Well, so there's a new there's a new strategy that's going to be rolling out as far as how we communicate the message. That will be coming this month. So I don't want to say too much about it until it actually drops on the website. I'll let you know when it does. It's a new strategy. I think it's going to be inspirational and it's going to help us. But so many libertarians just, I think, have to get over themselves. And to that point, if you get over yourself, you can actually be a potent component in a voting block, right? Did you say
impotent? Or
yes. Yeah. Get over your impotence. There's power. The power we have right now as libertarians is not to actually win elections on a federal level, right? It's not going to happen. On a state level, it could, maybe. On a mayoral level, libertarians have won, right? On a local level, you definitely can win. But on a federal level, the power we have, on a state level, the power we have is as a mover of people to a certain side. And people need to understand that that may involve negotiating from the party level to say, look, if you give up this point, if you pledge to lower this tax, if you pledge to deregulate this marketplace, if you pledge to, be anti-war in this way, here's the points that we want you to concede on. And if you do that in this contested race where you're down 5%, we'll throw our, whatever it might be, 40,000 votes your way. That can swing an election.
Yeah.
Majorly. It can swing an election. There's ample power in that. And libertarians are too principled so often. They're going to say, fuck that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to vote against those. Okay, well, what you're voting for then, by staying home, is you're voting for the person that, by the way, you don't believe in anything, and the other person you don't believe in anything to win. Use what you have in the system we exist in to try to influence things. If you don't, you're frankly a fucking moron. Do you go through life never taking advantage of anything? If you see an opportunity to advance your business, you say, okay, if I make this move right now, right? I don't have, my business is small. I'm going up against Barnes & Noble. I own a bookstore. Let's pretend it's 1992. I own a bookstore.
It's a magazine porn shop. I get it.
Yeah, magazine porn shop. And you have the ability to get the hottest issue of Super Hot Knocker Twat 27 before Barnes & Noble gets it in. Well, why would you not do it? Why would you not try to influence the way people move?
Yeah, don't
never team up with uggos. I'm sorry. Somebody just said never team up with uggos. Have you seen the Libertarians? The other people are teaming up with the uggos. I hate to break it to you.
She's saying reach out outside the LP and find and look. Hey, you and I don't think we're the worst looking LP type of people you can have.
No, we're leading the charge, my man.
Right? That's a sad existence.
At least thin Tyler was. I don't know about fat Tyler.
I'm working. When you see me in a month or so, it's going to be a drastic change.
Well, let me just say one thing quick about her comment about reaching outside the LP. So again, the strategy, it's done. We're putting it, I'm reconfiguring it to put on the website, and then we're going to start rolling it out in the messaging and on our social media platforms and in our pitches for media. Reaching outside the LP is at the core of what I'm trying to do. It involves a complete reconfiguring of how we represent ourselves, how we represent everything about libertarianism to be more inspirational, aspirational, less whining, bitching, and more assuratory of, look, this is the future that we can bring to you, which is what the other people do. That's what the other parties do.
You're saying disassociate the classical liberal caucus then, because
well,
everything you just said was anti them.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it has to be, when you're an upstart, okay, it has to be something that people read, associate with, and they go, that makes me happy. That makes me believe. That makes sense to me. That's something that I can believe in beyond the tangible reality of where I'm at, right? And the other parties do this. Democrats, they promise you're not going to have to work. All races will be even, and everybody gets the same outcome no matter what, and all this other horseshit. The GOP says we're going to go back to the 1940s. You're going to have the man's going to work, the woman's going to stay home and cook, and you're going to have a beautiful car in your garage, right? And own a house. These are all nonsense promises. The Libertarian Party has to promise something bigger, better, and more beautiful. And that's what we are going to be doing. So,
well, I'm looking forward to it. Brian, I've taken enough of your time. I appreciate you coming in here. As always, you always have an open invite. So I appreciate you walking us through the gay stuff today. And I hope everyone had some enjoyment out of that. So tell us.
I hope so too.
Yeah, tell us where everyone could find you online, out in the real world, and doing whatever you're doing and pushing whatever you're pushing.
God damn it! Now I have to look up what.
It's in the it's. I put your link tree in our description. So
no. I have to look up when I'm going to be at the Libertarian Convention in California now.
It's I think the 22nd to the 24th, and so California.
Okay, it is Friday. I figured it out. Friday, February 23rd is when I will be performing. I'll be opening up for Adam and Nutter at the Libertarian California Convention. If you want to find me other places, at Brian McWilliams on Twitter, at Lions of Liberty, please subscribe to our podcast. My show's Mean Age Daydream. We have 3 shows. May mix it up soon, but. And now the new podcast, you can find it. The first episode podcast, it has not published yet, so it will publish the first 2 episodes next Thursday. We'll do a live stream as well. You can follow my Twitter for that, and it's going to be a great time. Tyler, thank you as always. I love you.
Thanks for coming. And by the way, when I played your clip, I was like, oh, that's kind of has an 80s feel. And then I was like, that's the one part I did hear was it's an 80s feel. So Brian, as always, appreciate you coming in. Brian's going to take off. Once again, love him. Go find out all his stuff. And I'm going to stay here, and we're going to talk about Brian behind his back.
Oh, please rip me a new one, and I'll use these clips through eternity.
There you go. Okay, thanks, Brian.
All right, buddy. See you.
All right, thanks. All right, everybody. That's Brian McWilliams. Let's look through some comments. What did I miss here? Forrest Mommy keeps calling Shannon Sharon. Okay, that seems problematic. Nutter Butter is making the rounds. Yeah, I think he's going out. I think Forrest Mommy said he's going out to Colorado as well. So that's pretty exciting. All right. So look, that was Brian's. We only have like maybe 10 more minutes here. I thought I'd play a clip here. This was somewhat interesting. I say somewhat. It was also frustrating. It's Vivek talking about, let's see here, share this. Vivek with a lady that, let's try to do this a little bit, 1.25. All right, it's an argument. And by the way, he bats her down. It's all fine and dandy, but tell me if you dislike the talking over that they do of each other. Even him, I know he's trying to push his points, but it's frustrating here.
Let's talk about white supremacy and what happened last night for a moment, because when you were talking to reporters last night, you called white supremacy a myth. When someone asked you about Dylan Roof, you said you didn't know who that is. Have you looked up what happened in 2015?
Yeah, look, I said this last night. Invidious racial discrimination is wrong no matter how it happens. But if a Washington Post reporter is asking me almost like a catechism, whatever question I said, I'm against invidious racial discrimination, whatever form it takes, but says, do you denounce white supremacy? It's incumbent on us for us to define what white supremacy is. I wrote my book, Woke Inc., and I've written about the detailed understanding of what the popular understanding of these terms have come to mean. Do you believe punctuality is a vestige of white supremacy, Dasha?
Look,
because if you don't, then you have a disagreement about many of the people who are defining those terms, or the written word, or the use, or the nuclear family. These aren't my words. These are the words of intellectual proponents from Ibram Kendi to the Ayanna Presleys to BLM that have said these are vestiges of white supremacy. So we can't have it both ways. We have to have an honest discussion.
Straw man arguments.
Last night you brought up
Jussie Smollett as the best
Jussie
example
Smollett
of white
was the hottest
supremacy.
thing in news in the back of a fake actual attack on him that we have to contend with.
And yet you have examples like the Buffalo shooter in New York just in 2022.
You have other
examples.
You
are also cherry picking when you bring up Jussie Smollett.
I'll look at all of the statistics. More black on black crime. If you really care about actual crime against black Americans, let's get to the root causes of it in the inner cities of this country.
The Anti-Defamation League tracked a 38% increase in white supremacist propaganda last year.
Who's tracking that?
The Anti-Defamation League.
Yeah, the ADL, I don't think is a particularly credible source when they have cherry-picked information.
When we're talking about
I would suggest look at there's a table, 2x2 table, a federal law enforcement data, which you could say what you do. Maybe we shouldn't believe that either. But look at black.
Magoo, I'm doing 1.2. It does feel extra fast. I wonder if the recording that I'll put it at 1. I think the recording itself might be a 1.2. So. And you might be on code.
FBI
black on black crime,
the FBI
hate
crime statistics. That's a law enforcement agency. 59.1%.
By the way, I did an episode a little while ago. Dave Smith, the gotcha debate, which I thought was really good. And this reminds me of that, which is, and Noam was a little smarter, but she's not that smart. So she went and got statistics, or she had her assistant go get statistics, and then she's pushing them out there. It's just. I don't know, something about her. Just I know I'm gained a little weight, but she's too smooth. She has all her edges are too smooth. Is that not nice to say about women?
It was based on race, ethnicity, and ancestry, saying hate crimes rose 12% between 2020 and 2021.
Look at the absolute crimes themselves. What they classify as a hate crime is itself a political judgment. I think that when you actually care about protecting life, if you want to say Black Lives Matter, let's look at where Black lives are actually being lost. It's in the cities, at the heart of other Black Americans and criminals that are restrained by the absence
that we talk about as well. But are we supposed to ignore white supremacist hate crimes?
We're not supposed to ignore any kind of crime, Dasha. That's what I say. But what I see is a selective reporting. Take the National Transgender Shooter Manifesto. Every shooter manifesto in a mass shooting has been released within 48 hours, except for that one shooter in Nashville. Now, it ended up being leaked. What do you see? It wasn't a white supremacist. It was somebody that was actually making fun of using derogatory terms. I believe.
Okay, so why are you okay talking about that manifesto and not talking about the manifesto from the 2015?
I'm more than okay talking about both. But what I'm asking is, why is the mainstream media suppress that one? Why did the police suppress that one? Why was that the one?
Okay, I'm done with that. But it is interesting that she's supposed to interview him, so she asks him questions, and then she doesn't really let him give a shot at answering it. Frustrated. Okay, I've got another one here I'm going to play. I have not watched this. I just bookmarked it, and I'm going to play it. And let's see here. Let's go there. So you're going to watch the premiere with me, okay? That's what's going to happen. This is some sort of news thing, and it's Cumia, and let's see, this one? Yeah, you go. Cumia and Gavin McInnes talking about something. And I don't know, it looked funny, so I just thought we would play this. Once again, I don't even know what this is about. We're just kind of going through my bookmarks here.
Of course, Jon Stewart is doing the interview because he's a fucked cuck faggot.
He's like Patton Oswalt. He's trying to cover his base by bootlicking the wokes. He must have done something wrong.
Yeah, he must have done something wrong. It's, how many flights on Epstein's plane is his name. So he's just got to pad it a little bit. But he's doing the interview, and this Packy woman, she hates men, is what it is.
What is the balance of activating a force for change, but also trying to permeate that patriarchy, that power structure? And is that a part of the calculation of your heart as well? And what's been the reaction to that?
Oh, absolutely. I like to make men uncomfortable. I enjoy making men uncomfortable.
So your politics are based on spite.
Yeah.
Okay, that's I want to go back to, let's do this here. This is now I know what the situation is. This is the new chick that they hired. She did some documentary. Now they hired her to do Star Wars, and she makes men uncomfortable. Look at her. I am very uncomfortable, and I don't even know what she's about, but she makes me very uncomfortable. So yeah, that's okay. Let's see. Benzo said this. I think you're talking about the other lady. She's the type that would use a rape whistle. Who would want to R her? That's the question you got to say. She definitely, no guy has ever given her the opportunity. Yeah. She uses that for fun. Her sitting close to me would accomplish that. Good job, Magoo. This is why we can't have nice things. She can make good curry. Okay. Thanks, Steve. By the way, let's do this while Steve. Yeah. This is why it's important that you come into the show here in the chat. We'll just let me see. Nope, it's not doing it. I'm gonna have to. There we go. Fox and Sons. foxandsons.com. Go there and get your orders of the coffee. We talked about it last show. The whole episode talking to Steve about coffee. And I learned some things. Did you know that dark roast means less caffeine and the light roast has more? I didn't know that. that was an interesting thing to me. And maybe the robust flavor is kind of a turn off to me as far as the darker roast. I like the lighter roast, but then I also get jacked. And then that's when I'm talking at 1.25 speed myself. I've been in court. I go to court a lot, and I've been there where the the person doing the transcribing or whatever they call it, court reporter. There you go, court reporter. Will tell me to slow down because I when I get going and I know what I'm talking about, I talk too fast. It's a good sign for me when I see them. Although, so anyway, go to foxandsons.com and you get actually 18% off of any orders of $25 or more. Steve just sent me some more coffee. I love it. I think I'm going to do, I should have sent Brian, I'm going to have guests. I'm going to send them a bag of coffee instead of me. I say that, but then I go through it so fast. I don't really want to do that, but maybe I'll pay for it and have it shipped out there. So foxandsons.com, go there. I need to try the dark blend and see how it is with a drip French press. So we'll do that. Oops, go back to here. Okay. I had one time, I had this client, and sometimes maybe I should talk about what just took place day after Christmas, 2 days or so. It was, I had to go to court. It was a frustrating one. I was defending someone who was pushing back. I told her the judge is going to rule against her no matter what, so don't fight it. But she insisted on fighting it, so we fought it, and then it was just a whole big thing. And so sometimes you have those situations. I had one once where my client was completely in the wrong, and I came into the case late. Okay, things had already happened. Now I'm going to court simply on whether he's going to have to pay attorney's fees to the other side based on sanctions. Which he was totally guilty for, and it was like 10 grand. So I'm up there trying to make arguments, and I have no arguments to make. I'm trying as my best, and the court reporter was between me and the judge. So I'm watching, talking to the judge, but I could see the court reporter just in my peripheral too much. And at some point, I think I made up some words. I was just rambling, and I could see her head like kind of looking back, shaking. She's all confused because she's got to type what I'm saying, and it doesn't make any sense. He had to pay that. Okay, what else do we got? Follow the coffee on Twitter. Good job. What else you got here? Tyler needs a safe space. Tyler had no arguments. Yeah. Okay, let's see do I have any other bookmarks before I go on? And then I thought we would maybe talk about, so they got that one. I see this here coming here. Maybe I'll pull this tweet up and then we can maybe talk about this. I don't know much about this. Oops, that's, there we go. I don't know much about this girl, this Morgan Ariel. I don't follow her, but I bookmarked this because I thought I think this has to do with, she got let go by TPUSA because she was complaining about the calendar girls. So this is what she got a message. Morgan, we've tried to reach out to discuss some of your recent commentary. We 100% believe you have the right to express yourself as you see fit, but what we're expressing is further and further out of sync with the values of the organization. Please consider this notice that you have been removed from TPUSA's Voluntary Ambassador Program, and as such, we respectfully ask that you remove TPUSA from your bio. We wish you the best. One, who cares? If she's holding that up as something that she's like really proud of, being part of TPUSA, whatever. Feel sorry for you in that case. Let's talk about the calendar real quick. So the calendar goes up, and maybe I'll do a show about this, but I don't really want to because, one, I don't care. Sometimes you're like, it's the girls that in normal world, for most part, wouldn't get any attention but some of them are hot, okay? And I have no problem with that. The problem is some of it you're just like, these girls all annoy me, and you're giving them attention. And then this Bryson Gray comes out, and he has a whole problem with the demonic thing. That's what he calls it, demonic. And he's all up in arms, and he's such a sanctimonious person. But he's a rapper. So he says that the culture that, like Josie, he's not happy with hers. She's showing, my wife wouldn't go outside looking like that. I'm like, okay, well, maybe, I don't know. I need to see a picture of your wife to see if I want to see her in a mini skirt, okay? Or a bikini. And bikinis happen. You go to the beach. People wear bikinis. We went to a water park a few years ago. Someone had a burkini. That's a burqa that they wear to go swimming. So people wear these things, right? And this is normal life. I don't know what to understand. And so he's a black guy. He does rap, which is appropriating prison culture. I mean, let's get to the heart of what rap music is. Okay, it didn't start out as a Christian idea and then morphed into something else. No, it came straight out of, what it came out of, and the culture that it's emulating, and he's in that. So he's upset that Josie is pushing a calendar with a girl that in a bikini who is a professional swimmer, okay, or a collegiate swimmer, and that's what she wore, and she's hot. Okay, he's upset about that. But yet he does the same kind of shit. And I'm just like, he's such a hypocrite. And so I did a tweet, and I was like, I put a picture of her and a picture of him rapping. And I'm like, if your son came home with one of these, which one is he more likely to lead him to prison culture? Okay, Josie or a rap artist? Yeah. So I'm just not a big fan of rappers. Okay, let's see if we have some. You guys everyone hit the like button. Thank you, Forest Mommy. I appreciate that. Our subs over on YouTube are getting close. I need to get at least over 500. We'll get there. And then, I think, why I think Forest Mommy showed up today? Because Andy's not here. I know there's some bad blood in y'all, but love everybody. Shannon, Magoo says the calendar guy is gay. The beer is gay. Bryson is gay. It's all gay. I agree. And by the way, my only point is just commenting on that whole scenario. He's gossiping, and if he's taking everything biblically, one, judging people, or maybe that's not so good. Don't poke someone else in the eye, or what is it when you got the plank in your own? Don't worry about the speck in someone else's eye when you got the your nose. And then gossiping. He's a big gossiper, and he's like. He should be on. He's upset he's not on the calendar, and I think he has maybe some low T in there. So, what else? Okay, yeah, we're all happy family. Thanks, JC. The last thing I would say is, because we're gonna head out of here, I've had about enough for today. Like I said, I'm cranky. I've been on this diet. I'm losing weight. It may not look like it, but I am, and I'm riding my bike more. So, but I'm trying not to drink beer. If Andy was here, he'd be offended by this. It's 3 carbs, 98 calories. It's really doesn't even taste like beer. It doesn't really have much alcohol. I'm a little ashamed actually of it myself, but it's what we have. So one thing we'll put out here, I've got a few people lined up. Hopefully they're going to be coming on in the next year. Tom Woods has said he will. I'm just trying to line this whole thing up. I'm also producing the Tire Gang stuff. So they let me have a little snippet right at the end. So if you stay for the whole thing, you get right at the end. It's not easy because I can't be off. I've got to have this exactly right as far as to be able, if it's humorous, then you've got to make sure you hit your mark. They have 2 hours and I have like a minute. So I'm trying to do a few things and make it a little bit my own. Steve said, tell Tom hi. Shannon's more... sun exposure. I think this face though it's warm in my room, and so I'm a little heated up right now. So other than that, yeah, there we go. Okay, everybody, like and subscribe. Just share this show out if you can. I appreciate it. We'll have more conversations like this. By the way, Brian McWilliams, he's a joy to have on the show. He's obviously a podcast host, but he's a good guy. I've met him several times in person. I have a lot of fun hanging out with him. So hope I can meet everyone someday. So all these fans or these, fans, you're just people that enjoy coming in. It's a community. It's a community. I know. So thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. I will be doing, I'm doing a deep dive on Killdozer. That's going to be my next one because I think that guy was mentally deranged. Anyway, love y'all. Have a good one.
Okay, I'm leaving now. Bye guys.
But she's back.
And now.
Chick-fil-A is completely overrated. It's not that good. I prefer Zaxby's. I prefer Popeyes.
Takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. And I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
Should I vote for Dick Cheney on the Libertarian Party? Do I have an obligation to vote for Dick Cheney?
I would say so.
Yes.
Did it work for those people?
No, it never does. I mean, these people somehow delude themselves into thinking it might, but it might work for us.
That one dude was like, not a podcast. I can't find it anywhere. They don't have video.
Oh, yeah, Peter Janke. Yeah.
Yeah, I blocked him.
I'll do it. If he unblocks me, I'll...
He'll buy your shirt if you unblock him, Bert.
He's a wigger.
Yeah, nothing cooler than a 49-year-old wigger. I just started live streaming. Cut me some slack. I'm pretty high tech for a boomer. But anyways,
boomer.